we will be talking about building a CRM application. So what we're talking about first is how to prepare the database schema for the CRM application. What is actually a CRM application, and why we decided to pay attention to it specifically, and how to build CRM application with the IronSpeed Designer. So first of all, let's talk a bit about the schema and why it is so, because the database schema is the most important part in the creation of any data-centric application. And the IronSpeed Designer is the tool which allows you to create data-centric application. And CRM application is as well the data-centric application. It allows you to work and manage your data. So what would you like to do with a database first? Well, considering that IronSpeed Designer uses database schema to create pages, and the pages layout and functionality is actually driven by the schema itself, you need to prepare it properly to have exactly functionality you are planning to have. Also, application performances depends on your schema, and I will talk about it a bit later. Properly designed schema allows you to extend it easily, and when you got new requirements in your business, you can easily extend your application and without big problem and big redesign involved to get your job done. And finally, I want to mention before we start talking about the schema itself that to create web application with IronSpeed Designer, you are not required to have any knowledge of decoding or ASPX or any code languages. In fact, all you are required to have the knowledge of is the database schema, at least on the some level, because without understanding how your schema is designed, how your foreign keys are signed, etc., you won't be able to create applications properly. The first and foremost important thing to do with the schema is to normalize the schema. There is formal definitions of the normal forms like first, second, or third normal form. I don't want to go in those definitions. So we do not have right here at this particular moment the course on the SQL or any other database server design. However, normalization in two words means that your information should not be repeated, meaning that if you want to put some information in the table and you know that information will be used by in different situations, you need to create separate tables. But for example, there is a small picture over here which shows kind of semi-normalized schema, meaning that my orders have only foreign keys pointing to customer, to employee, to product, but, and for example, all the details points to order and to product, but they do not repeat the information. Technically, you can assume, for example, that my shipper information will be completely in the order, but it's not the right design. You need to put shipper information in the shipper's table, customers information in customers table, employees information, the employees table, and so on. And only the foreign key you need to put to the so-called index table. So in this case, the orders serve as an index table, and all other tables serve as a detail table. It's also known as a star configuration, where the index table points to all detail tables and just serve as the unit where all this information put together. Also, as less fields in the table you have, as more efficient your database will be. Pages would be loading faster, search would be operating faster, and so on. So again, how to get less fields in the table? Well, put it in different tables and normalize the schema. So this is the first and most important thing. Now, create child table for one-to-many relationship always. And again, on the previous page and on the same page, it's the same snippet. You can see that the child for the orders, we have child as an order details and as a customer. When you have master detail or parent-child, which is the same relationship, IronSpeed Designer would be able to create proper pages. For example, it would be able to create detail tables for children. It would be able to create drop-down list, lookup tables, and so on. So when you see that there is a potential for parent-child relationship, meaning one-to-many relationship, for example, for each customer could be plenty of orders. So this is an example of one-to-many relationship. For each order, it could be several order details lines. Again, this is the example of the parent-child relationship. When you see this potential, again, normalize your schema and normalize your database and have this information in separate tables. Create separate lookup tables. Well, what does it mean? It means that sometimes you might not even need on the first glance to have separate table. For example, shippers. Well, you might have like only 5 shippers, and all the information in shippers is just in the company name and phone and nothing else. Or maybe even just a company name. For example, another good example is the countries. You can have a countries, and if the country is unique, you can put country as a text in the table. But better to have a lookup table. Create lookup table for country. Create lookup table for shippers. Why? Well, because when you do this, then IronSpeed Designer will automatically generate for your drop-down list. You won't be worried about the spelling of. You won't be worried about the spelling of those country or those shipper names or anything like that. You will have them already once input in this lookup table, and every time you just use the foreign key. So you are safe, and you will be guaranteed that each entry is entered once. For example, if you have FedEx, you will have FedEx once, not like FedEx and Federal Express, for example. Another important thing, you have to index your database. Index almost everything. Index all foreign keys. Index all primary keys. Index any fields you are planning to search by or filter by. How to index it? Well, you just go to Management Studio and, for example, add indexes and the index keys. But the major rule, index everything. Everything you might need to be used in the search, in the drop-down list, in the queries, anything. Well, basically, it's everything except blob fields, except images or large text. Another important moment I want to mention is naming conventions. It's great if you're able to, if you design the schema from the get-go and you can give meaningful names to the fields, because IronSpeed Designer use those names to create labels. If you use a camel case, IronSpeed can parse those names and based on the capitalization inside the name, create human-readable names. For example, if you have a field called username, camel case, IronSpeed Designer will create you label for user space name and etc. There are pretty sophisticated logic inside IronSpeed Designer how to treat different field names which have camel case notation. Also, it can use abbreviations to expand them. For example, if you have a field name ADDR, most likely it will create label address for you, and so on. So if you use meaningful names, not just field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, most likely you will from get-go get proper labels on your application. You won't even need to think about naming them. Also, there are special tools to save, for example, name of the file. If you have, for example, image field or some blob field for binary field, and you have upload control where you can upload this image into the database, you also might want to save the name of the file which was used to upload this information. Well, again, if you have proper names for the field, IronSpeed Designer can automatically recognize that you have a special field to keep this file name. It's called companion field. In the designer/configuration options XSL file, there's a rules how it finds those files. But basically, if you have image field called, let's say, my picture, and you have another field called my picture name, well, Designer will recognize that my picture name is effectively a string field where I need to keep the name of the file. It will do it automatically for you. Now, another important thing is the field data types. If you use correct data type, it will help designer to generate controls properly. For example, if you have a string field which is supposed to hold maybe just the first name, and you create the field with the length of like 20 symbols, then it will generate the text box which will be able to hold this name, but it will not try, for example, to generate a huge rich text editor text box, which designer automatically generates by default if you have a very large string. So, for example, in this case, if you have the data which are small, use the limited length on the field. If you, for example, have a data which could be only bit type, yes or no, then use a bit type to call them. Then designer automatically will generate checkbox for it, for example, and so on. If you have images and binaries, then better use image type for images and binary for binaries. Again, it will help to properly show them as a control, because image type will automatically be shown as an image on the show table, and so on. So my point is that designer takes into consideration everything, including names, including data types, including the schema, and so on. Now I want to touch one important thing which is pretty frequently pops up in the our support questions, is what to do if I have two different tables and I want to show them together, and so on. Well, create database view. If you have two tables and in some page you want to show information from both tables in the same table, well, just create a view, and you can create a view for multi-table joins. You can create the view for very complex queries when you have very specific logic of the queries nested and really complex, and you cannot tell designer what you do want. Create a view. You can create them via Microsoft Enterprise Manager, for example, or any other tool. So that's what you do when you have complex query. Designer actually gives you a possibility to create a custom query inside, but frankly speaking, view is the better approach. It works faster, and it will be easier for you to change it, to modify, and so on. Now, very important to have primary keys and foreign keys properly declared in your database. Primary keys are used to create show record, or edit table pages. Without primary key, a designer won't be able to create them, and you won't be able to update them. If you cannot, if you have database, for example, that's often the situation. You have database, but you cannot modify the table, and this table doesn't have primary key. What to do? Well, you always can create a virtual primary key inside designer. My advice is to do that even before creating any pages at all. Well, usually, and I have to admit I do it myself all the time, you first go to designer, go to application wizard, select pages, select tables, bam, create all those pages, and then you start thinking, oh, this view I need to update it, or this table needs to be updated, but I don't have the primary key. Oh, what should I do? Oh, I need to go and define the virtual primary key. But it's too late. Pages is already created. So it's better to think first. Right in the application wizard, you can go and assign virtual primary keys and virtual foreign keys, and then create your pages. In this case, designer will create for you all the edit pages, all the show record pages, and so on. The foreign keys, again, very important. Foreign keys allow us to create master detail pages. It will allow you to, for example, to show categories record for every product, or to show product table for every category. It will insert link buttons, and it can translate foreign key as a more human readable name, and so on. So designer use foreign keys all the time and everywhere. So again, very useful to create foreign keys from the get-go. Very useful to create them right in the database. But again, if you can't modify a database and it's already created, what do you do? Well, then you can, of course, define virtual foreign key in RSP Designer. And again, you can do it at any moment. You can do it when your application already created, or you can do it even before application created in the application wizard. And in a second, I will go to that. Let me just have one last slide devoted to the database, because, well, today we are not exactly talking about only databases, although it's important. To create virtual foreign key, you can always assign it again in the wizard. So let me, for a second, switch to Designer and just give you a couple of and show how it could work. For example, this is the application which is already created. I can always click on the database tab, and in the database tab, actually, you know what? I need to maybe create new application because that was created before. So let me do this. Let me go, and I will need this application anyway. Let me go and select the database and create new application. My database, and I will show you where the foreign keys, by the way, could be defined and where the primary keys could be defined. I want to connect to this database. I know it has. By the way, most of the time, it's much better to use SQL Server authentication rather than Microsoft Windows authentication to connect to server, because then it's very portable. And even if your particular computer somehow gets behind the firewall, or for example, it's in the separate domain, it will still be able to connect. While if you use Windows authentication, you have to be in the same domain so it will work. Now, I will use this particular database, and I will tell you why. Because this database is actually the one, it's our test database, but exactly the same database we use for our own project, which is called Buckaroo Business Builder. This is this database is test data, but exactly the same schema is used on the production one. And we have a CRM application created for this database. In fact, this application was created by the person, like an engineer, who it's not, he wasn't actually even had any experience in the coding at all. And he came from a completely different background from IT. However, he was able to create this CRM application in a matter of days, and we will try to recreate something. So what I'm doing now, I want to limit number of tables created for all, a number of pages created for all tables, and later on, if I need more, I will add them. So I will do this. I will click tables, and now I have creating 4 pages for each table. But for some of them, I might want to have more. For example, for workflow table, I want to add also these 2, but so I can do it independently. Now, when I go to the next step is actually the step where you can add virtual foreign key and virtual primary keys. In my case, I wouldn't require to do this. Why? Because this schema is very well defined. All tables have primary keys, and all the foreign keys relationships are also defined. Strange, for some reason, it takes time to proceed. I'm not sure, maybe my database is actually, no, it's something. So here I can add a virtual primary key, virtual foreign key. In fact, if I would have a view which doesn't have a key, designer will automatically also make some suggestions based on the name. But in my case, I don't. I need to do this, and now let me create new application. Let me put it in my folder. What application number I have? It will be 35. And I will do 35. And it will be the application Visual Basic 35 in line. Yeah, that would be enough. Now, while designer creating application, let me go back. It will take some time because I selected a lot of tables and a lot of pages. Let me switch back to my presentation and go to CRM actually. And then when designer will create the application, we will go back there and see some of things which I mentioned. Now, what is the CRM application, in fact? Well, CRM application translates as customer relationship management, and it is designed to manage all ways of interactions with customers, including sales, including technical support, marketing, and customer support. So what's the sales management? Well, sales management allows you to manage orders, invoices, and all other documents if you have maybe purchase orders and so on. It should allow you to create workflow to process, for example, new customers and orders. Not necessarily you need it, but pretty often you do. And for example, when a new customer creates an account, next thing you need to send him maybe email with confirmation. Then you might want to follow up a week later and so on. So the workflow is pretty useful for that. Also, you would need to manage obviously products and services. You might need to change your product catalog, add new services, meaning change prices, and so on. Finally, you or maybe change which products are shown today on my web page, something like this. And also, it's very important to get statistics and reports from sales, so you know, for example, which sales rep is underperforming, which is a great achiever, and so on. Technical support. Well, technical support is all about managing technical support cases. So the case might need to have case status. It might be assigned to certain engineer, and of course, case is assigned to certain customer. It might have internal notes not visible to customers, and obviously notes visible to customers. It should integrate with customers' account so that you can easily browse all the cases with a particular customer. So again, that's some tasks which you might need to achieve, maybe more. Now, marketing. Well, first of all, most of the companies usually use different types of promo codes, so-called promo codes, to track how different advertisement partners are performing. So when somebody clicks to the link from advertise somewhere, let's say on Google or Yahoo or any other advertising partner, we want to track this click and know that, oh, okay, from Google we get that many orders and or that many clicks and that many clicks produced orders. So we have this type of conversion ratio, and for Yahoo it may be slower or better, and so on. So you need to track the statistics, and you need to track number of clicks count. Also, you need to be able to manage campaigns, meaning that you might want to add new links, you might create new campaigns with special discounts and special pages maybe for different advertising partners and so on. You might need to manage emails which you send during different campaigns and contact lists which you send emails, and this is not the same as your customers. Quite the opposite. Pretty often it is not customers yet or prospective customers. So you want to manage them too. If somebody responded to you, you might want to follow up. And of course, you need to create reports and graph charts to know what's going on, how you can improve your business, how you make it more efficient. Now, last thing, but not least, is the customer support. And for customer support, it's not exactly the technical support, it's slightly different. It's the management of the customer's account, where you want to create new accounts, update existing accounts, maybe merge if, let's say, some accounts join the same company or something like this, or split them back. Maybe you want to add, remove some products for the particular account, so on. Also, you need to have some kind of document management, of course, to manage customer feedback, to write internal notes, to write back to customers. So this is kind of a thing. So that's what is CRM all about. Before I proceed, let me switch back to Designer to check, yes, it created the application. Now, I want to show you a couple of schemas we use internally for our CRM applications. One of them is our Nexus application, which we use in the Iron Speed to manage to perform all these tasks. And another one is the I just mentioned Buckaroo. Buckaroo is much simpler one, so I just give you a glimpse of what do I mean by all these tasks and how the schema might look like. So first of all, let me go to the Nexus database and show you the diagram. So this is again my test Nexus database, but it has the same exact schema. be my diagram for this application. Give me a second. It will just take a second to open. And let me remove this thing. Okay, it's almost done. So I'll just show a kind of quick illustration of what did I mean by saying customer support, technical support, and so on. For example, let me scroll. It's still loading, but it's almost done. Now, for example, this is the portion of the schema, and this is a big schema. I just, to give you an idea how big it is, I will make it very, very small, and then switch back to this size. So if I make it really small, this is the schema. You can see it. It's pretty intense. It's a lot of tables and a lot of relationships. Now let me make it back bigger. And go back to the portion where the support. So this is the support portion right here on the screen. So I see that you see that I can a case is something which usually opened by a customer, although it could be opened by engineer. Actually, let me make it slightly bigger like this. So this is support case. Support case has a bunch. Again, this is the index table. That's what I was mentioning when I was talking about normalization of the schema. So case effectively is an index. It's the central portion of the support index. Now, it can, of course, point out with the foreign keys to a bunch of different information. For example, these tables, database, framework, language, product version, Windows version, iOS version, these are all related to the technical information related to this case. So these are effectively lookup tables. So all of them are addressed through the foreign key relationship from the case, so that we can easily describe what exactly environment this particular customer has. Now, these are status and priority lookup tables. Well, they allow us to assign different priority and status. Now, the program history itself is the table, so which you update the records for this case. So, for example, my case could have a lot of responses and volumes, as we can say, between the engineer and the customer. Each of them is a record in this problem history table. It could have attachments, of course, like pictures or something else. And then, of course, this case is linked to a customer. This is the customer table, and you can see the customer table is linked from everywhere. And, of course, it's linked to the engineer and to the lighting. So that's portion of the schema which is responsible for the technical support. For example, right here, you can see the portion of the schema for the marketing. It has workflow right here, workflow steps, workflow actions and items. It has campaigns, which is called campaign, and particular authors in this campaign. It has a table for web request, which is effectively the click coming from request coming from any place, from any advertising partner, which we of course need to record to know how many clicks came from different partners, as I mentioned, and so on. So this is the portion related to the marketing mostly. Now, if I go up right here, it's up. Then I would see another portion related to the sales. So here is a big portion about, so it's all around the customer. So the customer is the major table, and everybody refers to the customer. The sales rep could have customers assigned. The customer could have different statuses, number of visits, keywords, and so on. And then we can have seats and licenses sold to this customer and so on. So this is a sales portion. So when which describes relationship between the sales rep, customer, products, which is a license, effectively in our case, how many of those licenses which are seats, and so on. So that's kind of another portion. And then finally there is one more portion right here. Oops, I'm sorry. Which relates to internal tasks, but that's not about the CRM already. But this is one of the examples of the schema, of the big schema for the CRM, which performs all the tasks I mentioned. a much smaller schema, which we will use today in the example I will create, would be the Buckaroo, which I mentioned, and here it is the Buckaroo Business Builder. And this schema is much smaller because the this business we just starting now, and it has much smaller scale in terms of product, customer, and additions, versions, etc. relation. So the schema itself is a bit smaller. Now, again, you will notice that it has very similar structure. And again, why? Because this is the schema which effectively underlies the CRM application as well. So again, if I have a case with the priority, case status, problem history, again, I will have the marketing portion with the promotions, mailing list emails, and workflow right here. So the coupons workflow will be, let me make it smaller because otherwise I'm a bit lost myself already. It's not as nicely structured as I hoped. This diagram, where's my workflow? Here is the workflow over here, and so it's a similar thing. Now, again, the customer in this case would be account user, so our customer, and again, you can see that everybody refers to this table, and we have, of course, our own representatives, and so on. I mean, the schema is very similar. You have the case for the with the priority, problem history for the customer support, for technical support. We have the same cell structure with the transactions, accounts, users, products which are sold, representatives which are assigned, and so on, which we have workflow, and we have records of the contacts, and so on. So I mean, the structure is similar. It's a simpler schema, smaller schema, but a very similar structure. So that's what I wanted to illustrate for now. So all the portions which we mentioned, which is customer support, sales support, marketing, etc., are underlined by this schema. Now, let me go back to my presentation. Oops, which one is this? I need to go this. Now, what are benefits of the CRM, or good CRM, effectively, efficient CRM? Well, first of all, it allows you to decrease operational cost because you can have more efficient account management and tracking, and you can have more efficient product management, and effectively you need less people to perform the same task. It also allows you to increase revenue, because if you manage your marketing campaign properly, you would be able to invest your marketing budget more efficiently and get more clicks and get more customers and get more sales. And again, how do you do it? You need to have a statistics of which advertising partner performs better and worse. So you definitely need to be able to look how many clicks comes from which advertising partner, how many of them are converted to orders, and so on. So you need to have all these type of charts and aggregate functions and numbers. It allows to help decision making because you should be able, from the properly designed CRM application, to pull all needed reports, and those reports might include not just the sales per month, for example, but also sales depending on the product line, per sales representative, per shorter period of time if you run any promotion, and so on, because then you can decide effectively which direction you need to go, which maybe feature or which product you need to add, and which product is better performing. And which is also very important, properly designed CRM allows you to have better customer satisfaction. Well, because if you have a properly designed CRM, you are able to provide better customer support. There should not be cases which are not answered. There should not be cases which, for example, technical support cases which are hanging out forever over there. So you need to be able to easily see if there anything is going beyond normal time, and need to be taken care of, maybe escalated to a senior engineer or something like this. So CRM effectively allows you to create more efficient business and to work. Less cost, more profit, more income, and better customer satisfaction, which again brings you more customers. Finally, we are getting to the building this CRM with IronSpeed Designer. So how to do this? Well, very simple. Select all tables, create pages. That's what I did about several minutes before. I selected all tables and I created pages. These pages already have all the functionality. Although I have to admit that I intentionally selected only 4 page types. I could select all 12, but why? Because there's one thing is missing, and this thing is usability. Well, if I select all page types, all tables, and create them, well, I would get a huge application with like 50 drop-down menus with several hundred pages. First, it will be very slow because it's large, and second, you won't be able to do anything because you have so many menus, and you as designer maybe have a chance to find what you need, but normal salesperson or support engineer would be completely lost. So it's usability. How to improve usability? Well, funny enough, you work to delete unnecessary pages and clean the interface. So effectively, designer creates everything for you. Too much. To create proper CRM application, most of the work you will do, you delete those pages and those menus which you do not need. In fact, deleting the pages themselves are not as important because technically, if this page doesn't have a menu, then you not necessarily need to go to this page, and maybe your users won't see it, but the menu should be clean. So how to do this? Well, my suggestion is define main entry point for each of the tasks. I specifically mentioned that we have 4 major tasks, 4 major functions of the CRM, which is support of sales, technical support, marketing, and customer support. Each of those has their own main entry point, and very frequently they are handled by different people. So for technical support people, they need to be easily able to see the cases open today. So your main entry point is effectively case, because that's what comes to them. They can see every morning, oh, we've got this case I need to answer. For the salesperson, the entry point is effectively customer, because that's where everything starts with him. So that's, and for maybe marketing, the entry point would be either the contacts, which is most of the time they use emails and send them, or advertising partners, campaign pages. After you do it, that effectively defines your menus. So if you know that this is my entry point, and let me quickly switch, for example, to our real Nexus application, and I will show you that despite the huge schema, it's actually not that large after all when you look at it. So let me go here. Have a blank page, and I'll go to, I don't want to show any data, but effectively that's the whole CRM application. It has sales with all the necessary information for sales, easy access to customers, to companies, to licenses, to workflow, to pipeline, so there's new coming customers and so on, right? Support, very easy to access support cases. You see right now opened cases. It's actually a live database. Don't pay attention to the names, please. Now, you have marketing with their dashboard statistics, with their campaigns and registrations. And there is also engineering, which is not exactly a portion of the CRM, because it's more related to engineering, but we have everything in one application because we prefer, it's easier for us to have everything at one point. But this is a main entry point: marketing, operations, which is effectively customer support, right? Lookup, support, and sales. So you saw how many tables are there. I can just show quite quickly. Again, my number of tables here is quite a bit large. You can read them, but you can see. But I have effectively only 4 main entry points. And that allows every department, sales and marketing and technical support, easily to find what they need to. So finding entry points is crucial. That defines the menus. and then defined for each task how it should be done. Again, for example, let me go to the application we just created and which will be right now try to do. I created millions of pages, and if you look, my menu is huge. It's very long. In fact, I actually needed to create it not a horizontal but a vertical, but you see it's long. But most of those menus are not needed. Why would I need transaction type menu separately? Why would I need, for example, roles type menu separately? It's enough if I can change them somehow, but definitely not in the CRM application. I need to do those. And most of the time, they're not changed ever. It may be even once and forever introduced in the database. But much easier and better things to do for this case, because transaction type or like roles or promotion types, you might enter like once a year. Have a button which creates new record where you have drop-down list for them. That will allow you access when you need it, but it won't clutter your menu, and that relates to everything else. So, define menus. Define for each task how it should be done. Maybe it should be done not through the menu, but through the, for example, edit button or show button. And finally, add formulas and charts. Well, that is not generated for you automatically from designer. You would need to do this manually, and let's go and do some stuff. So now let's switch back to the designer and demonstrate how you do it. First of all, as I said, menus. Well, how to modify menus? Nothing could be simpler. We go to menu panel, select menus, and say configure. Now, right here, let me just quickly go through the list and see what is not needed. Okay, case status, not needed, because I can update it easily. Contacts needed, contact status. Separate menu, high level, no, definitely not, delete. Coupons issued might need to have, coupon type, definitely not. Group coupon, definitely not. Group coupon issue, also these tables are kind of service tables in the logic. Log might be, let me leave it for now. This is a service table, I know. Mailing list, email. Let me remove first obvious guys. Types, delete, delete. So you got the idea. After first pass, I can pass second time. Representatives definitely don't need the table. Service frequency don't need it. Transaction type don't need it. Steps, I will add them separately, and actions the same thing. Well, I have already less than half of the menu. It's already feasible, although it's still a bit too much, and all of those tasks could be done. Now, what should I do? For example, I remove gender from here, right? What if I have a new gender? Well, technically, as far as I remember, in the United States Statistic Bureau or government, I don't remember who recognized either 5 or 7 different genders, not 2, as you might think. So what if I want to add another gender? How do I do now? I moved my menu. Well, now let it build. You will see that menu now is kind of visible. What do I do is I easily, okay, so now let me go to any page. Okay, so my menu becomes much smaller. It's still big. I still would need to remove it, or I need to have it vertical actually, which would be more useful. But you got the idea. But again, going back to gender, where is the gender used? It's used on the contact. So if I go to contacts table, this is the contact table, and again, second thing would be after we cleaned menu, cleaning the tables, and we'll go through it for a second. But for example, right here I have a gender, and again, this is a test database, and a bunch of the fields are empty. But again, let's see. For example, I want to modify some contact. I don't know which is this. It's some kind of test contact, I believe. Actually, let me do different. I don't know. Maybe somebody used it because it looks like it has some information. Let me get. No, it's definitely test because it's the same name everywhere, so it doesn't matter. I can easily modify anything. Now, these are my gender. So how do I create new gender? Very simple. Designer is smart enough to add an add button to the drop-down list if I have a child table. So when I'm deleting those menus, I know that I have a way to create and modify this particular record if I need. For example, right now I do have here female and male, and I might click it and say, I don't know, bisexual or whatever it is. I don't know. Transvestite. But the bottom line is that a lot of things could be changed through this button. And this button is very small and doesn't clutter the interface, while the menus really clutter the interface. So first suggestion is leave only menus which you really need. This is too much. You technically need to boil down to maybe like 4 or 5. For example, if I show you our working application, CRM application based on exactly the same schema, it looks like this. Don't pay attention to the data, it's actually actual data, so let me even do this. Let me say my page size is very small, so you don't see a lot of real data from real people. Don't want to expose it, expose only one. So all my menu for the same table, as you see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and how much? 14 items. And everything we needed is here, because from each menu you can access this way or other way the data I need. For example, I can go to the same contact which we saw at the same table, and if I go to the same table, you will see that it's much more compact. Well, of course, you need to modify your table. So how to modify tables? So first thing, we deleted menus. We need to delete more, but I just got tired of those things. Now let's modify the pages themselves. So I don't want to save anything here. Too much. It's very easy. It's very fast. So first of all, I would say, oh, okay. What I want to have here is to have last name, first name in one cell, so it doesn't take more space. And then I want to have delete unneeded cell. Then I want to have address. I want to have all address fields in the same cell, because then it will be much easier to read and much more compact. So that's my address. Now I can delete everything in here. I just select this guy, right-click, and say remove columns. Now the phones obviously need to go all together, and labels for the phones I will keep because I need to know which one is which. And these two goes down. Now the fax will go the same way. And then I might do something else. For example, I can combine all of those as additional information, marital status, gender, additional information, something to this extent. And delete these guys. It will be already much better. And kind of going on and modifying, but you see how easy it is. Also, all my tables in this database have audit fields, created on, created by, updated on, updated by. Well, most of the time, you want to see them only in one place. For example, on the table for each contact, you might not want to see them because the clutter interface. It's enough if it shows on the record itself. If you want to know this audit information, you just go to record and you see it there, and so on. So I don't want to again spend a lot of time going for each field, but the idea is very simple. You remove unnecessary menus, then you compact the tables by moving information around, putting in the same table, and effectively you will get pretty nice tables which reflect everything you need. And effectively, this is almost real-time creating CRM application. If we spend on our webinar, I cannot spend another 5 hours, but believe me, if we will spend another 5 hours, we will have exactly beautifully formatted, perfectly functional, almost ideal CRM application for this database schema. So now you see that these addresses are here. So in this case, we don't have much information, but if I go, for example, to some page, I don't know, 1,000. Well, it's still test database, so most of the records do not have much of information. But that's what it is. Now, we done compactification. Now, what else would I need to do? Well, I might want to put some detailed tables or detailed records for different records. It might be, for example, done right here. If I go to the company, this is the table. If I go to company itself to show record for a company, oops, something's wrong. Don't go there. I don't know what happened there. I know, because this particular table requires social field. Okay. I don't know if I can edit here. The person to the team, literal confidential. This looks like it was something like the rebuild all. Looks like this particular page, or I can actually delete the page and create it again. For some reason, during the build, it got theme property not properly identified. I don't know why. But the bottom line is that sometimes I want to have a detailed records or detailed tables inside the table itself. For example, in the account company table, I might want to see all the users right inside the record, because that's kind of convenient. Well, in this case, you just need to go to the design mode and drag and drop it. Give it a second while viewed, and it's almost done there. But in fact, right here, if I go to merchant, which is account company, we just call it slightly differently. On the last application, you see I have the address, I have created on, I have the name, but when I decide to edit the record, I would see here not just the company itself, but also the user, I mean, for this company. But nevertheless, you see here, I can see all the account users for the company, emails, and all the information for the company. Well, the good thing about it is that effectively these things are the same thing for a contact, for example. If I go to any contact, I can see, well, on contact I don't have additional information, but for promotion I would have. So if I go to the promotion, for example, and look on some promotion, I see that I have coupons for these promotions and contacts, which it was sent. Well, this promotion wasn't sent to anybody, okay, it's test database. But if it will, it will have all information here. Yeah, something is wrong with this page. I will just delete it. Show company. Well, let's see, it's effect, show effect, so I don't want actually to delete it because it might access something else. But nevertheless, hopefully it's just a small glitch on this particular page. So now I have a user, and for the user I have the tabs with all the information I might need. So what information effectively I want to see here? Maybe not all of it, but something, maybe just certain pieces of information. For example, if I, which table, let me go back to my presentation and look for a second. Oops, it's wrong place. Give me a second. So let's see. For example, what information do I want to see? Let's say I want to see. If I am, let me think. If I'm on the contacts table, I want to know. In the contact table, I might not want to know all the promotions which were sent to this contact, and I might want to know all the coupons which were sent. I have a coupons over here. I'm just trying to give an example when I want to add new guys. Let me go back and think. Promotion. Let's go to promotion. This is a promotion. If I go to show promotion, what do I see? I see contacts, coupons, and group coupon. Well, I might want to see something else. I might want to see, for example, all the how much all the counters. Let me actually know what. Let me remember where I wrote for myself what is the good example, and let me go there and see what was the good example. Account company, contacts and promotions. Okay. Can I get here, for example? What's wrong with the account company? Text box. Something went terribly wrong. Let me try to do the same thing again. Good thing that I can easily recreate the same page immediately again. I want to create it. Basic record, edit table, edit record, add record. So the bottom line, what I want to say is that if I want to have any children over there and I want to show them in the top container, nothing could be easier is just to drag and drop new, and I hope it will work now. I don't know why it didn't before. Nothing could be easier is just to drag and drop new children, new child panels, and I'll show you in a second. Hopefully it will work now. It's actually test database. I don't think we crashed there or anything. I'm not sure. But anything could happen because on test database people change its schema every day. So sorry for this yellow. I don't want to see the yellow. I can't get out of it. Need to wait. So let's see. In this case, on this page, I do have a bunch of children. I can create them again or delete or remove them, but how would I do this? So effectively, this is a top container with all the children. First of all, maybe it's too many. So maybe I want to delete some. So I can just go there and delete those which I don't want. Right? Simple as this. But now let me show you how I would create if I do not have what I need. And always the designer tries to create everything. But if I do not have what I need and I want to create it, how would I do this? Well, I do this the following way. I just can delete the whole sub container with all the children. Now, to create them again, what I will do, I will go inside the record. Then I will see that I have all these reports over here. And for example, for my account company, I might want to see all the promotions. And all the promotions. So I can actually decide how my table would be defined, and if I have a basic, for example, I can decide if it should have buttons or not, do not should have buttons, and maybe in this case, when I just want to see my promotions, I do not want to have any of those buttons. Maybe in this case, I want to make it clean because I just want to see the list of promotions in this case. I don't want to see anything else. So I would do something like this, right? And then I can drag and drop the second one, and another one, whatever I want. For example, for this company, I drag and drop my promotions. I might drag and drop my account user to see all the users for this company. And then I might want to drag and drop all the contacts this company has on the mailing list. And then when I do this, now I will cut all these three guys, go to the page level, and paste them here. Now all I need to do is to add top container, insert tabs, and it's done. Now, fingers crossed, it will work, although I'm not exactly sure, but let's try. It's actually a pretty big application with the, despite of the cutting we've done, I cut mostly menus, I didn't cut the pages, and there's all the pages are built. The same thing over here, just go in there, deleting all these guys and adding what I want the same way, which allows us to create the children. So you see, maybe way too many, so I just deleted. But then I need to add new. If I try to add new, you see nothing is related. Why? Because I'm not in the record. So the trick is again the same. I go inside the record, drag and drop whatever I want here. So for this user, I might want, I don't know, whatever, what contact, what I want to have here for the user, maybe cases for the user, and maybe I want to have, emails, and maybe in the emails I don't want any buttons. So this is kind of the easy, quick way to add child table or children, as many as you have, to beneath or to the side of the record. So now I need to cut this thing. I can right click or I can say Ctrl X or I can say cut. And then I navigate back to the page level and paste them over here. Paste. And then just insert tab container, and that is pretty straightforward thing to do. Now if I go to this, I will see only two tabs, and the tables would be configured slightly different than it was. I removed buttons from one of the table. So that's how you operate. So first remove menus, second combine fields, third manage the children on every page. So you have only those children which you need. Again, IronSpeed Designer is smart enough to create add buttons for things like types, for lookup tables. And effectively that's only one thing we need, so we don't need to create menus for any lookup tables. If you need it, you add it over there. Now you see I have two of those guys, and this guy has filters and buttons, and this guy doesn't have buttons. I removed them. So you can combine them easily. You can delete filters and change the way the table look like. The one last thing, so that's how we would approach all the pages where you need to create the children. Last thing to do is to add counters or statistics. For example, what do I might need to want? I want to see. Let's say I want to know how many contacts my company has. So let me go back to company table. I think I modified, and let me remove all this thing from it, so it would be much smaller. So I will just, for the sake of example, I don't, and of course I can quickly do this, but I just don't want to spend much time on this because it's obvious what to do. And I will just remove all other fields because I don't want it to think about it. I just select this, let me okay, delete. And I just delete all these things for now. So I don't want to spend time rearranging those guys. Maybe I'll leave logger. And last try. Oh, how many fields? Ah, okay, that's it. Delete this guy. And in fact, I don't want to delete it. I want to change the label. And I will put here some statistics. For example, I want to see how many contacts do I have. Okay? How to do this? Very simple. I'll go to, first of all, I need to drag and drop the label, which will tell me that it is a number of contacts. So, for example, I want to have a label which will say contacts count, and it will say number of contacts. That's label, and then I want to put a counter here. Well, nothing could be easier. I can just go to my counts and see what I have count for can double check that my joins are correct. They are obvious, so they are correct. Now I have, if I go back to live preview, I will see here number of contacts. Well, last thing what I want to mention, and again, we have the separate webinar for chart and dashboard where I cover all these tricks in depth, but just in this for this particular case, I will show you the operation which you need to do most of the time in this case. I mean, this is most common operation you want to do, and it's not as obvious as just drag and drop the count, because count will show the number. Well, these guys don't have any, but if I go somewhere, I don't know, page 20, oops, there's some logos. Oh, this guy has a lot of contacts. Now, what I want to do is to be able to click on this guy right here, right, and go directly to the contacts of this particular table. And that's the most common thing. That's how you do dashboard. So you want to be able to drill down all the time. Well, let me show you how to make a drill down, because this is actually an important part of the CRM application, to have dashboards which allows you to drill down to the data you need to know. So let's do the following. Let's go to this particular field, and we are here, and we have this lookup. Excuse me. To drill down, all I need to do is to do this. I need to add href. So I would say something like this. href equals, and then where do I need to go? Well, I need to go to contacts table. So I would say the dot, right? Contacts, show contacts. Very important to not to mistype. Contacts table. And then I want to show only contacts for this particular company, right? So I need to pass a parameter. So I would say show contacts table, and the parameter would be account company ID. Account company ID. This would be my parameter. Now, this parameter should be equal to what? It will be, let me, by the way, I forgot here to put a double quote, obviously. Because this is kind of got a string already. So account company ID will be equal to, it will be equal to my account company ID from here. So I need to just right click, and for my record I want account company ID. Now I will go to the proper, this will go to the proper, and I need to close the single quote, and then close the href, and then close the quote. So this thing will go to the proper page. But what do I show? Well, I still want to show my lookup. So I'll show my lookup. Let me actually for a second do this. Make it bigger, and let me unpin this, make it even more bigger. So this is my lookup. That's what we'll show, right? And then I added this guy, and I effectively that's it. That's all I really need, and I need just to add a close and tag for the href, right? However, what I don't really like here is that my formatting is not exactly as I might want, because this is a number which I want to have formatted properly, so I would maybe add here formatting around this number. So what I do is I say function, I would say, where's my string? Logical formatting, format, and the value is my lookup. And the format string would be, for example, something like pound, let's say pound, something this extent, very simple. Or if it's currency, in this case, obviously, that would be like C formatting. So now I have my formatting, and I have my href over here. So let's see if I didn't misprint, and I really hope I did not, and I go to my live preview, it will show the link to the page which I need to go. Fingers crossed. It is very easy to mistype, and I often do it. And I really don't want to look which particular symbol I missed. Okay. Account company, and if I go to, for example, page 20, what do I see? Yeah, it works. So I can go here. Now that's great. Now the last thing I want is to add the same URL parameter to the page itself where I'm going. So last thing I need to do is to go to my contacts page, and it will show contacts table, which is by default has about 63,000 contacts, as you can see. And then right here, I just need to add the URL parameter account company ID. So I go to data sources. I found my contacts table control query. This is what it is. And on this query, I edited and add where clause and say that I want to show only contacts where the account company ID is equals to formula, and the formula is obviously environment URL, and URL would be account company ID, and that's about it. So now, again, fingers crossed I didn't misprint the label. When we click on this hyperlink, I will go to the table. So this way you can create all the very quickly. In fact, the whole dashboard could be created by doing this. And of course, I wouldn't recommend to type every time this href. It's much easier just to copy and paste them, and that I will do this. I just wanted to type, and then I didn't have anything to copy from. So now, next one, I will just copy and replace the table name. So again, let's try, see that it works. So I go to the page 20, where I know my guy has 7,985. I click on it, and show contacts table. Did I forget ASPX? I could easily. Let me see. Where's my formula? Okay, of course I forget .ASPX. I told you something I will forget. I hate typing these things. But again, once you did it once, next time you just copy this thing and paste it to everything else, just replacing the names of the tables. Then it will be much easier rather than typing. So that's how you can create the dashboards, and that's another thing which you might most likely need to. Now it's done. You see, we have exactly the contacts which I needed, and of course I can't initialize the filter itself, which would be a nice thing to do. Just click on the filter, initialize it to the value. But again, that's how you create the dashboards. And finally, the very last thing I wanted to mention is that in the CRM application, it's really important to have the so-called audit fields, like created by, created on, updated by, updated on. And we do have it. And if I look on all my tables, it has those fields. So every table has them right now. how to initialize them properly so they will be updated? Well, the easiest thing is that, for example, on the add or edit pages, for example, if I go to add contact, right? Instead of showing here, though nobody wants to show them here, I would just do something like this. For example, created by would be initialized when adding record to logged in user, obviously. That's who created it by, right? So that would be user ID, or you can right-click, of course, to do the same if you don't remember what to type. Again, you can IntelliSense. You have user ID, you have function, you have environment, you have not environment, you have security. I'm sorry, and user ID, the same user ID function, right? And same for updated by. And for created on, I would obviously say just now. Initialize when adding record now. And again, right-click allows you to do this. Then you have audit. Audit is important because you want to know who updated which records and who did what. The very final thing I wanted to mention today, before I go to the questions, is that do not forget to use application generation options. And although it's always there is kind of desire to create it faster, and application generation options is a long thing, but when you know what you're trying to create, you might, for example, you might do it once and it will save you a lot of time. For example, I might know that on my CRM I never ever use, I don't know, import to Word file. I only use import to Excel or import to PDF. Or I know that I do not want to have some type of filters or controls on some pages. So my advice would be maybe create one page, then look at it, see what you don't like, which buttons you don't like there, and then go to here and decide, okay, my data entry forms, for example, on the edit table, for example, I do not want on the table panel, I do not want to have column heading because it's some, or for example, or other way around. On the record, on the detail table, I do not want to have column heading because I want to have it compact and so on. So you can go through all the options for all the pages, adjust them once. Yes, it will take some time. It might take even an hour, but then all your pages already will look exactly as you want. So my suggestion is that create one page, look at it, decide what you like and what you don't like. Go to every option for the page could be changed on application generation options. You can select you want to scrolling or not. You can select do you want to put a heading, do you want filters, which type of buttons, which type of filters. You see everything is configurable here and type of those. So you can do it once here instead of going to every page. Create all the pages and you are done. So big advice. Do this way, not the way I did, because I didn't want to go to each and every page, but that's the proper way. In fact, most of the time you spend an hour, create something to what I did now, look at it and say, oh, no, you know what? Yeah, I don't want these pages to have headings, and I don't want these buttons, and I don't want this. Oh, okay, let's start again. And then again, when you start again, you already know what you want, so you go to application generation options and select all the options for a page. That would be it, and now I'm going to the questions part. Excuse me. Okay, the questions from Peter. Can INSP Designer combine separate fields like was done with the address in the table view, be combined in the show record page? Combine separate fields. Combined on the show record page. I'm not quite sure what do you mean combined on the record page, because record page, if you go to any record page, for example, show record page, right, it was editable. Let me go to show. Record page effectively has all the fields already in one place. You can easily rearrange them, but kind of putting them together in one cell doesn't make much sense. You're losing formatting. Possibly, you're asking about combining record inside the table. Yes, this is of course possible. You can drag and drop record inside a table. So right here, how the record looks like. they're nicely formatted. I can put all the fields in one cell, but they won't be nicely formatted. So I don't see big value in this. But I understand maybe you are asking, can you combine effectively details for this record as a record of here. Yes, you can drag and drop the record here and combine. It will combine everything, and you can remove, for example, the border. Well, hope I understand correctly what did you ask. Roberta, where can we get a copy of the DB? You cannot get a copy of the DB I'm showing because this is actually internal database used for our commercial project. It's a test version, but still it's internal database. You need to create your own database effectively. What I can do, I can put. We will have all our presentations available after the webinar. I can put there the picture of the schema, but I don't know if it will make too much sense. I can try this, of course, but anyway, most of the time you need to create your own because every schema, and as you can see, we have two different completely schemas doing the same thing for different projects. Every schema actually has reflects the need of this particular business. So it's really not useful to apply complete schema created especially for one business for the other business. So I would suggest you to create your own schema. Use the rules I said, normalize schema, use for lookup tables, and you'll be fine, and index the field. Question from Rick. I never have done this before myself, but is there a method for assigning different security levels per record for different users? Yes, definitely yes. I have people that can see all records, but they are only allowed to make changes to certain records. Of course, you can go, first of all, we need to set up some security, and security is always set up for the application security wizard. For example, I can set up Active Directory right now, click Finish. Then I can go to each panel and set up, I can set up security for a page or for control. Also, I can set up security for in the where clause. So what you are asking is that people of certain groups should not be allowed to make changes to certain records. You can do this three ways. First of all, you can set up security for edit or add record page, meaning that only allowed members of the allowed group would be able to go to this page, so anybody else will click it but go to forbidden. Plus, it's one thing. Second thing, if you don't want those users who are not allowed to edit this page even to see the edit button, you can set up security to edit button. So give me a second, it will compile this application, and I'll show you how it all works. I just needed to have some kind of security to see all those controls. It's literally 2 more seconds. Yes, I want temporarily disable. Okay. Now I don't need to go to. So, for example, I imagine that my edit contacts is not should not be allowed to be edited by anybody except administrator. So what do? I go to security wizard. I will go to pages, and I will say that my edit contacts right here, edit contacts is only can be accessed by, let's say, administrators. And right, that's what can I do. Then nobody else will do it. Second thing I can do, let me cancel from here. I don't want to rebuild. If I don't want even people to see edit button, then I go to show contacts table. In the show contacts table, I will find here edit button. Here's my edit button, right? And the edit button, I can Oh, yeah, I need properties. Hold on. View. Give me my properties back. Now on the properties, for this particular control, I can find security. See, right now it's set to everyone. I just click this thing and say show all roles. And again, I can set it to administrators only right here. Then nobody even see this button except administrator. So effectively, that's what you do. Finally, this is second way. Oh, not finally. The third thing, if you don't want those people to see menu, then you can go to menu, click configure, and in the menu you can select any menu and also set roles right here the same way. So show all roles, select, and then assign it. So only those people who have this role will see this menu. And finally now, you can go to where close and modify the where close is the last way. So for example, here I have edit contacts, right? So edit contacts, it would be contacts query, contacts record control query. And here on the where close, yeah, I don't want to save it, but I just show you. I can add where close and say that it's only, how to put it here, sign in user. For example, only you can, if you have, okay, with the work also slightly trickier, I needed to mention it first. If you have certain field over here, which is a member of the, for example, you can have field over here like groups or roles. Then you can compare it with the logged in user group and create a very close for that. But there are several ways. A question from Dmitriev: what about reports generating in different file formats? Oh yes, you, for every page, you have export to Word, to Excel, to CSV, and to PDF. So if you click the button, you will get this page exported to PDF or to Word or to Excel. So this is a different file format. And also you can of course modify them. For the pages, you can see there is a schema and there's extensive comments in the schema how to modify it. So effectively you can modify how it look like, what labels will be, and so on. So that's how it works. It would be nice if you share the database schema with us, John. I understand, but again, this was a production schema which is used in the commercial application, and I'm not really willing to share it. But once again, I will think about it. We will repeat, I think, this webinar on the July 27th. And I might, so you might check the date. On July 27th, we will have a webinar which is called Help Desk. And I might use different schema. Or alternatively, I might create by that time special test schema which I would be able to share. So just look at the announcement and look on the July 27th. Can we use also for the office management database purpose? Well, obviously you can create IoT applications for any purpose. I was just trying to mention how I would approach creating the CRM application and what I would pay attention to do it faster and with less hassle. And the major point was first to pay big attention to the schema, create proper schema, and then create one page, see what you don't like, change application generation options so your pages looks like you want, create several pages for all tables, then cut menus, cut fields you don't want to, and effectively add children and report. So that would be my approach. And going this way, you can really finish application in a matter of several days. But of course you can use RSP Designer for anything, including office management database purpose. Why not? Anything which is based on database, designer create application for it, of course. Question from Brian: what percentage of CRM application do you believe was done by RFP, and how much was externally developed code? Well, for the application which I showed here, 100%, and I'm not kidding, 100% of the application was done by RFP designer. There's no single line of externally developed code, literally zero. And again, as I can say, the person who developed it is actually has IT background. He's not a software engineer background, and he doesn't write code. So that's the answer. On the Nexus application, which is much more sophisticated thing, I would say that it's about 90% designer, maybe 95% designer. I would say 95% designer, 5% developed code. But there are special logic, very special logic for like sending certain emails with special confirmation code, etc. Is it customizable? A question from Jimmy. Is it customizable? You were discussing normalizing schema when. Okay. I'm not sure I understand what does it mean schema is customizable. Of course, you can go to the Microsoft Enterprise Management Studio, sorry, and change anything here. But normalized schema is much easier to customize, and why? It's very simple. For example, let me go to what I'm looking at. Let me go to simpler schema because it would be just easier to explain. Well, although why not? Right here, for example, I have a case, right? Where is I want? Oh, I'm looking to the wrong schema. Okay. Let me see here. For example, I have a case which relates to all the other guys. It relates to the status, to the present history, to the description, etc., etc. The customization is very simple. For example, I want to add have case status and priority. Well, what if I want to have some other, I don't know, quality? Well, I can easily add one more field here and point to the table. If I want to update this table, I just update this table. The beauty of this thing is that if I need to add one more field to a new table, my application effectively don't need to do anything. You just add it and synchronize schema. Nothing literally changes because it's new field. As long as you're not deleting fields, you're not renaming fields, you can synchronize schema without any trouble at all. Now, normalized schema is good because if you need to modify a table, you most likely it will be located to only one, problem history. I want new field, I'm modifying only problem history, and this is just one table, which is great because everything else is not even touched. So modifications are really simple. Add a new in the lookup table, very simple. Modify, add a new field, very simple. Even if I want to change something in this and maybe change the type of the field, the only table affected is one. So it's one page will be affected, and you would need to take care of. If you would put everything in one table and change something, well, imagine everything will be different. I mean, you will lose all your work on this case table. So normalized schema is very easy customizable. Can I ask the designer write to database if a view is used to generate an edit page? Oh yes, sure, of course. You know what? Let me actually show you a very simple thing. It's very simple thing. Bear with me for 1 second. Let me see what application is this. Hopefully it's Northwind. I really hope. Yeah, it's Northwind. Very good. So this is Northwind schema. And it has a bunch of views, right? They are not included right now. Well, you know what? I'll do it very simple. For basic list of products, I want to be, it's updatable. So what do I do? By the way, before I answer this question, let me tell you that we usually have these sessions, these webinars until 10 o'clock Pacific time. So I will answer all the questions which were sent to me now, but could you please send any questions you want right now, because we're kind of making last call for questions. That we'll answer only questions which we'll receive in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and after that we'll stop accepting them, because, well, it should end at some point, you know. So, coming back to alphabetical list of products, I want to include this guy in application first. I include it, right? And now I would say that, you know, in my alphabetical list of product, my product ID is will be the primary key. Right now it's not, but I would say it will be. Now, effectively, I would be able to create the pages and save them. So if I go to application wizard, I will be able to select those pages for this particular view, which is Northwind, I think it's Northwind 2005, I believe, yes, Northwind 2005. And go to views, select this view, and it allows me to create, edit record, etc. And I would be able to update them. So that's how it works. The virtual primary key, is it supporting virtualization? I'm afraid I do not quite understand what does it mean, supporting virtualization and the virtual primary key. Virtual primary key is nothing else as by assigning it, we do this. We tell to our data access layer that this particular key could be used to retrieve particular record. Now, this field obviously, or combination of fields, obviously should be unique. Meaning that if, for example, I would select in this, I know that in this particular view, product ID is unique key. I just know how this view is done. I remember it. But if I, for example, select here category name is virtual primary key, and I would try to update table or give a show table, my database will give me exception, because when my query will be run, it will see that there are more than one record. So my data access layer will not be able. So you can't update record if your field is not unique. So that means that virtual primary key is just telling to data access layer that, oh, you know what? I know the combination of these three keys is unique because they were because this view is created from those three tables. So if you use them, you would be able to update all three tables. And then the data access layer is smart enough to go to each table using those keys and update them. So that's how it works, kind of below the hood. But I don't quite understand what this question means. I'm sorry. Question: can we use this system for desktop application if we need? No. Iron Speed Designer generates only web applications, which can only be opened in the browser. It doesn't generate Windows applications. Question from Tom: could you tell us a bit more about tables for workflow and how this can enhance CRM applications? Okay, let me go back to schema, and let me go back to this schema. It's better. The diagram is better. So, how it can enhance? What we do in our own CRM application is the following. We have table, lookup table for different actions, and action have an ID. So it could be, for example, send email. It could be like call. It could be create an account and something else. So create another, send different emails. One of them for the greeting email. Another one is follow-up email. Something to this extent, right? Now we have a table of steps. So each steps record has a self key, so it has next step ID. So for example, my step could have sent greeting email. Action ID would be greeting email. Email message would be thank you for sending us request for the, I don't know, for the new products. We will, these are a list of our new products, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? Then you have here set how many days should be happened before next step is happened. And now this table, which has the customer ID and step ID, are sent to each customer. So what will happen is the following. For example, customer just created account, made the first order. My first step is to send thank you email. Thank you for placing the order, blah, 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 blah. And what will happen is that as soon as we create an order, we have create a new record for here, and new record always initialized to the first step. First step has this email text, and it has email action. So what a salesperson does is he sees workflow for this particular customer, and he sees their OK button. So he can just click OK button, and the OK button, all the customers who have this step 1 to send greetings email will be sent. Some customers already receive greeting email, and they are on the step 2, for example, and step 2 is referenced on the step 1. Immediately, when you click button, OK button, we just change the step ID to the next step. So the logic internally is that retrieve the next step ID and make it next step ID. So some of them, for example, they had greeting email and they want to receive maybe follow-up. You are within 30 days, you are today's 29th day, and you have only 30 days of free support. Do you want to purchase support light? Something to this extent. So you don't need to think about those. You don't need to remember them. You just can show, like in our, as I showed our table right here, there is a workflow activation. Workflow pipeline, request, workflow. I don't want to click on it because it's real data with real customers. I don't want to expose names. But effectively, it does exactly that. You can see all the people who are inside the workflow cycle. And the cycle could be a greeting email, follow-up email, something else, like 3 steps. Depending on when they place the order, some of them could be on the first step, some of them on the second, somebody on the third. But when I click in the morning OK button, different actions happen for different people. And then they go to the next step. You can actually, in fact, make it automatic. And actually, in our case, it's automated. It's just cron job on the server, which hits the page and automatically executes those jobs. But that's what you can achieve. Next question from Larry. What is the quickest way to print report of the parent record with all children record, here customers, all coupons issued? Unfortunately, the quickest way is to create a view, including all those records, because the way how Raspberry Designer generates report buttons is the following. A report button, when you click it, it goes to the database of particular table where this button is located and creates a query, retrieves all the records, not from this page, but all the records using the filter settings, and exports them into the file. Now, it doesn't go to any children. And unfortunately, there's no easy way to create such button. Either you can create your own button, which will trigger click of several buttons, but then you need to organize all in one record. So the easiest way, again, the quickest way is in your question, create a view. Question from Peter. It's to have one heading for address with 4 lines underneath in one text block. But that's what I did. I understand you are saying, what you're asking. We was question about record rearranging, but yes, I understand what you're asking. Yes, of course, you can do this on the record. This is not a problem at all. You just go to the record and go to any record. These are labels, and these are fields. Just delete those 3 labels. Okay. So delete labels and organize fields underneath. I still have some questions which I'm here, but unfortunately, I'm kind of running out of time. I'll take 2 more questions and then I'll finish on this because we have the next webinar coming at 10 o'clock. what's the best way to handle schema where you don't want it fully normalized so that foreign key changes don't affect historical data? Where you don't want to change in the invoicing, or don't want to change of the product name to affect reporting. I see. Well, if your schema already has a database, if your schema has already application which use those data and report them and the data inside, normalizing this at this point is maybe impossible. Unfortunately, this should be thought before rather than after. You can do some cleaning, like putting some data outside, but effectively if your schema full of data and you already use some applications which use those data, well, unfortunately, I wouldn't say it has a big future to deal with it. Well, unfortunately, I need to wrap up at this point. I have several questions more. I will try to respond to them by emails. But at this particular second, I want to thank you for attending this webinar, and I can suggest you to go to July 27th when we cover a very similar topic, and I tried to create some schema which I can share by that time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.